This is a collaborative discussion amongst three friends.
You are a bandwagon Swiftie.
Wow.
LaCroix.
How have you never had a Choco Taco?
Well, I don't know what a Choco Taco is.
Do you do MMA? Because you're really wide.
So tell me, what's in your beverage center?
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, my eye twitch isn't bad right now.
Let's talk about the process. How are we going to help you obtain the best home at the best possible price, terms, and conditions that we can? Welcome to episode 32. I don't have an agenda today.
32?
32 of Shootin The SHT, Real Banter with Nick and JT, brought to you by Shore & Bank. Thank you to Shore & Bank for being our lovely sponsor. We've got another live in-studio guest today. We've got Mr. Chris Whitten. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Welcome. Thanks. Great to be here in studio. Looking good, guys.
Thanks. Appreciate that. So we're excited to have Chris on today. Chris, if you're in the Rhode Island real estate market, you certainly know who he is. Immediate past president of the Rhode Island Association of Realtors. I'm sure a resume that would take us probably a half hour or so to go through with all that you've done in the volunteer world.
Oh, it's many a hats. But yes.
Yeah. And broker owner of Premier Real Estate.
You got it. Premier Real Estate, yeah.
Cool. I love it. Sounds good. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. So we're just free flowing here today. So I'm excited.
Love it.
So how did you get into real estate, Chris? Tell us about your background, your story, how things started for you, and how you came to be where you are today.
Just like many that got into real estate, it's a unique one. So right out of high school, I was that geek in high school that helped put on the morning announcements. And I was behind the scenes. I wasn't in front of the scenes. So I wanted to go and do something like that in college. I was going to go for video. Well, I went to Dean College, and I started the video there. And I realized to produce a 2.5-minute video took all semester. I'm like, that's a lot of work. And then they said, hey, as a requirement, you have to go on WGAO, Power 88, the radio station on this, there. So I go, all right. I go, I hit the on button, I say what I'm going to say, and I shut it off. It's like, wow, that was fun. That was easy. It's not a lot of prep. So I fell in love with radio at that point.
Cool.
2 years later, that's all I needed was the associate's degree. And I started to intern everywhere. You guys remember Kicks 106?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want a quick story there? I've got
Sure,
stories for days.
Let's hear it.
So Keeler in the morning, KIX Kicks 106 Keeler in the morning. It was awesome. We had a blast. I was one of the million interns there, and they had the parade that goes down Atwell's Ave there, and in Federal Hill. And I was there as one of the interns. I had to take my shirt off and had a number on my chest. And as people would drive by that were listening to Kicks 106, would have to honk that many times to vote for whichever intern they wanted to vote for.
That's cool. Now, what year was this?
97.
97. All right. That's some pretty good days to be on a hip-hop radio station right
It was
there.
fun.
Yeah.
I have many a stories, so you tell me when to stop. But you guys remember Crisscross?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They make me want to jump,
Jump.
the Mac Daddy. So this was towards the end of their career. And history, you know the Behind the Music they used to do on VH1?
Yeah.
If they did one on Crisscross, Warwick would be, a little unknown fact, Warwick would be on that episode.
Really?
Because, so Kicks used to have their Kicks concerts, and they would have all these artists. And as interns, we didn't always have numbers on our chest, so we used to do other things too. So they needed a chaperone for each of these artists. And I was big into Crisscross's newest album that nobody had heard of at that point because the little kid thing wore off and nobody cared. But it was pretty good. And I said, I'll do it. So I was their chaperone. So I jumped in the limo that was at the Warwick Musical Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Another blast from the past.
Yeah.
That's now Lowe's. And we went, and I sat in the back empty. We pulled up to one of the hotels that they were staying at, and then one of them was sick, so only one was there, and then he also had a million other people with him. The back of this thing is jamming. And the next part that I'm going to say is something I've never said publicly before instead of in stories, so this is an exclusive. Are you ready for this?
Breaking.
Because I'm as goody as they get. I've never had a beer in my life. I've never had a smoke. I've never done drugs. I have like wine or whatever, but I've never been drunk. I have to, today, I have to preface this story by saying that. With all of that said, picture Chris. He's now 19-year-old Chris. That's a goody. Never done anything. Never had a drink back then either. They all get in, and that short ride from the hotel to the Warwick Musical Theater, they all light up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not lighting up cigarettes.
Oh.
And it's a big limo back there, and all the windows are closed. So picture a Cheech and Chong movie
Oh, yeah.
scene, but this is happening with squeaky clean Chris that's in the back. Now, luckily enough, I'm next to a window, right next to in the limo, and I'm getting kind of nervous, but I don't want them to see. I'm like, no, I'm going to be inhaling this pot stuff. Like, this is how innocent I am. So I go, guys, is it okay if I roll the window down a little bit? They're like, whatever, man. So I roll the window down just a little. Now I'm like trying to just like huff as much oxygen as I can get from the gorgeous Warwick air that's competing with the air that's inside there. So long story short, we pull up to the backstage Warwick Musical Theater. The door opens. I fall out. The smoke falls out with me. And I did get a contact high that day, clearly. And while I was walking around, I was supposed to just go to another spot where all the interns were, but I was so out of it because I'm so pure. And a little bit hit me. There's this R&B group called Shy. They had the song Comforter. Yeah. They were warming up to go on stage next. Their dressing room door was open a crack. Well, guess what little Chris Whitten did? Busted that door open. What's going on, guys? And they're all like in a huddle going, like warming up. Never forget that. But how Warwick will be on that is because after that show, they went back and they tore that hotel room to shreds. Their record label dropped them, and they were never crisscross after that.
Really?
So the end
killed them?
of crisscross was that Warwick hotel room.
Unbelievable.
Yes, their record label said, all right, that's it. That's the last straw, and that was it.
Wow.
Never knew that. That's amazing. Yeah. Should make a documentary on this, I think.
I should, and I never thought this would go public, but there you go.
That's fantastic.
There's another project for you.
Yeah, that's right. It's the magic of this room.
So Kicks 106, and then you kind of went to a totally different genre at some point, right?
I did. I bounced around to XLO in Worcester for a bit, and then I ended up landing at Cat Country 98.1 in Providence.
Okay.
And I was on the morning show there for 8 years.
Wow.
From about 2001-ish to 2008-ish.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So it was the Tad and Chris show, then the Matt and Chris show. And back then, if you were an artist, we had them in at one point. So I've got stories for days about all the artists that came up then. What's one that you want to hear about?
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
All right. Swiftie, I heard you guys are battling. Who's the
I'm the
biggest
original
Swiftie
Swiftie. He made fun of me for being a Swiftie, and now he's all aboard the bandwagon.
You couldn't even name the eras, John. So, I mean, you can't call yourself a Swiftie if you don't even know what the eras are. So I apologize, but you are not... You're not a diehard. You're not true. You're not a true Swiftie.
He's such a fraud. All right, Chris.
I see a battle at some point.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
All right. So my Taylor Swift story is that it was in between the Tad and Chris and the Matt and Chris. Mm-hmm. So I was Chris, and I was holding together this morning show myself with my producer, Jamel. He was amazing. And they always bring new artists by. Mm-hmm. And some of them get to go live on the air that morning, and then some don't, because who is this? And she was who is this? She had just released Tim McGraw, that song Tim McGraw.
First album.
So first album, yeah.
Do you know the name of that
he
album?
jumped in.
John?
John?
Name of that album. Her first album.
Put me
The first
on the
era.
spot.
What's
Because
Taylor
you said
Swift's
you're a
first
Swiftie.
album? What's Taylor Swift's first album?
Now I can't think of it, of course.
It's Taylor Swift.
So it was a trick question.
Self-titled
Pain in
LP,
the
buddy.
ass.
All right.
This is about Chris.
Big
One
Swiftie,
for
John.
Nick.
Big Swiftie.
Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, this artist is coming by. She's kind of young. Can you just go and record in the production studio?" That's where we went for those type of artists. So we said, "Sure." And it was just me. It wasn't two of us because I was the only one at the time. So I did a little bit of prep, as I always do, and that was the future realtor in me, like make sure, lining everything up just in case. Had all these good questions, all this research, as good as the internet was back then. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed her. And I don't know where that recording went, and I wish I could find it. I have a stack of like recordable CDs that I wish I could find that. But to me, that was just a blip. Interview came and went. And then she signed her little black and white 8x10 little headshot, and it said, "Thanks for doing your homework," and there were a bunch of hearts, and it said Taylor.
Oh, wow.
And I just threw that with my Leanne Womack's and my Keith Urbans, all these people. I just had a stack of my memoirs. So that was it. Fast forward to the pandemic. It was March of 2020. Taylor Swift puts out her Netflix documentary. My wife and I are just sitting watching our reruns of King of Queens on TV at night, and my phone's blowing up. I go, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Real estate. What's wrong? Something's done." Boom, I look at it. They go, "OMG, I think I just heard you on Taylor's Netflix documentary." Wow. I said, "Come on, what?" So somebody recorded the clip, and then I went and I listened and I watched it, and we logged into Netflix, and it was me. I forgot Taylor's mom was in the studio with us. with her old school camcorder that you would get from, like Kmart or whatever back in the day, Leach Mirrors, Best Buy, and was recording the whole thing. You didn't see me because the camera her mom was using was on the Cat Country logo and Taylor, but you could hear me in the background asking her the question. So I heard you were a freshman when you wrote that song. And that clip made it into her Netflix documentary.
Wow, that's amazing.
awesome.
That's cool. Now, John, what album was the documentary about?
Just talk to Chris. Just answer the question. Off.
Yes, there it is. Woo, all right.
Family podcast.
God.
Mission accomplished.
That's awesome.
So
That's
it's
cool.
great.
That's really cool. So country, I mean, back then it really wasn't as mainstream and popular as it is nowadays, right? How do you see that evolution? Is it exciting for you? Are you a country fan?
Not anymore
Okay.
because I always say I was there for 8 years, but I was part-time well before that. Okay. So you leave McDonald's after working there for a decade, you're probably not going to go and sit and eat a nice Big Mac.
Sure.
So I don't mind some of the newer country, but I just love the old country, and I love folk and reggae, all sorts of stuff.
Cool.
But it was just as country was starting to take off. So my goal I had set, and I live my life by chapters. So my first chapter was just Chris is a weirdo up until 18. And then from there was my radio career. At that point, I set a goal, and I said, I want to be on a #1 morning show in a semi-big market. And pushed, just like as a realtor, just as an entrepreneur, you got to, an independent contract, boom, you just got to get out there and hustle. And I ended up getting in. It wasn't lucky. Everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky to be on the morning show. You saw nothing of what I went through. Nothing. Overnight, sleeping on a couch, getting people coffee, doing crazy stuff. There's another story about Bill Clinton in the Secret Service I can tell you another day if you want. Or now.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, let's hear that
You
one.
want to hear that?
Bill hasn't been in the news at all lately. So
I know, right? Why not?
You guys have something in common, actually. You both didn't inhale.
That's He's good.
Family.
He's good.
What? He just
Continue.
told an entire
right.
story about crisscross blazing up in a van, and I can't make a Bill Clinton reference from the
right.
90s.
Chris, go ahead.
John's struggling today so far.
That's right. So the quick version of that is I was at WXLO in Worcester, and I was, at the time I wasn't an intern. That was my next, after my shirtless stuff with Kicks 106, I was actually getting paid to be a news intern on the morning show. And wouldn't you know, Bill Clinton was going to Mechanics Hall, downtown Worcester on Main Street. And everybody's like on the morning show, like, what can we do? What can we do? And I said, well, let me go see if I can get a good vantage point. Now, I was still young. I was 20 maybe at the time. So I went and found a fire escape in some back alley. Now, mind you, the whole street shut down because Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are in town, and everything's everywhere. So I jump up, just like you would see in a movie, right? Like some dude, I just jump up onto the fire escape, and I'm pulling up, and then I get all the way. I somehow make it to the top of this building that's 2 buildings over from Mechanics Hall.
Yeah.
And I'm being careful because I'm 20 and I'm an idiot, but I also know, like, listen, the Secret Service around here. So I'm peeking just over the little brick, the wall that's up there at the top. And I'm just looking down. I can see the limo and the Secret Service and all this stuff. And I'm on the phone, now sitting with my back, like I'm a hostage situation or something. My back is against, on the tar roof, rubber roof. Hey, guys, so guess where I am? So it made great radio, but I probably could have lost my life that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
intense.
It's traumatic.
So that was
harrowing story.
it was. Thank you.
Very cool, though.
That is
Very
cool.
Yeah.
They were
Yes.
probably watching through a scope to make sure that was just a cell phone.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they got a close up of my face and they go, "That's just that dude that was."
Don't worry about it.
that was. Wait a minute, we tie him to Chris Christ.
Don't worry, he didn't inhale. No worries.
That's right. But country music was great. At Cat Country, my ride there was unbelievable. I got a million stories, and this is something that I share too to tie it in back into real estate. Is that we always say your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
And it's so true because I didn't know I was building my network back then, but I did. And I got to know Tony DeJesus from New England Pest Control. He used to be on the show all the time. Nick, Ron, and Pete used to stop in all the time from Nairobi, from Cardi's Furniture.
Sure. Yeah.
And all these different, Judge Caprio used to come in.
Nice.
Which was great. And all these people used to come in. So I've kept in touch with all of them. So when my radio career ended, and we won't talk about that, but it's show business. And to close out that chapter we were talking about, we did become #1 on the mornings,
Right.
which was impossible for a country station in New Bedford /Providence to do. And we did. The radio station was #1. We were beating Paul and Al. We were beating Gio and Kim. It was the coolest thing.
That's crazy.
awesome.
I didn't realize it was that popular.
Yeah, it was awesome back then. But when I first started, our morning show was like 7th in the market. So over those 8 years, 6, 7 years, we just did our thing. And that's the other thing I want to mention too is the quick concept of the infinite game versus the finite game. Finite game has a set of rules, and somebody wins, somebody loses. And baseball, football, whatever it may be. But in real estate, and I really think in radio too, for the most part, it's more of an infinite game. It's just do the best you can tomorrow better than you did today, or better than you did yesterday. Just better yourself.
Just improve a little bit, small percentage every day.
That's it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, to talk about real estate as we're going to soon, it's like I'm the best realtor for this. I'm the best realtor for this. Well, what's your metrics? And what are you going by? Do people trust you? Are they happy with you? Is your business growing? Then that's success.
You're a great realtor, yeah. There's
Right.
so many of us. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's it. So in radio too, it was great to get to that level, just to that top tier. So at that point, I lost my job. I knew the writing was on the wall. Just corporate stuff happened, right?
Sure.
This program director, even though we're #1, new program director comes. I'm not changing a thing. 6 months later, changes everything.
Yep.
Usually how it works, right?
Story as old as time.
Yeah.
That's right. So then at that point, I was at home with 3 little boys at the time, and going through a separation. And what did I say? And by the way, that was 2008. So if anybody that knows real estate in 2008.
Oh my God.
This
Great
guy
timing.
right here.
Yep.
Now that you've heard some of the other stories, I'm willing to take a chance. This guy right here.
I'm really depressed today from the studio. This is a major bummer.
So what do you do in that situation where you got to move out of your house and you're going through a separation? You have kids, and I mean 3 young kids. They're 18 and 14 months apart.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They legit boom, 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 and they were young. They were 6 months, 1 and 2, or whatever. And now I'm out of a job, of a career that I'm not getting back into because it was just too competitive, and I didn't want to move anywhere. I'm like, hey, let's do this real estate thing in the worst market ever.
Absolutely.
So what prompted your interest in that?
So it's funny. A lot of people ask that, and it bridges the gap more than you think. So you say, all right, this guy is interviewing, all these different people. Toby Keith, I got a funny story about him at some point, but all these different artists, Carrie Underwood, and then you go from that and all this fun where you're making the money, by the way, but you're living the life, to real estate. That's like apples and oranges, but it isn't. Because at the end of the day, I also say this to many of new agents that want to sit down or agents in the business. Real estate's all about trust at the end of the day. And I had trust with hundreds of thousands of people that were there for the birth of my first child and second and third, because I'm a child hoarder. But they all were there and learned about their first steps. And it was like the Truman Show in a way when you're on a morning show, when you're open about that. So when the time came to make the switch from radio to real estate, it wasn't a hard jump. I had to learn real estate, but people trusted me.
Know, like, and trust.
You felt like you already
Yeah.
had a rapport with a lot of people in New England. Yeah.
I did, which was great. Now, if this happened today, I'm golden. This happened in 08 when Facebook was just getting going. I didn't even have a Facebook account at the time. So I couldn't say to my followers, and this is foreign to a lot of people now that are watching and listening to this, is that, well, that's easy. You just put up on your social media, hey, guess who just got let go? I'm starting a new career, and then you're going to have 400 likes, and everybody's commenting. No, that wasn't a thing.
No, they were still posting party pictures, and that was basically all they were going to Facebook for at the time, right? Exactly.
Right. So at that point, nobody knew I had left. They just, all of a sudden, they turn on the radio and like, oh, I wonder if Chris is on vacation.
Just
Nobody knew
gone.
anything.
Wow.
My email address gone. So I had to build from scratch my network. But because I had those relationships already built, I defined them in a new way, and it was the dawn of Facebook, right? It was just starting out, so I was able to add friends and find them and grow that network.
That's cool.
To where my first year in real estate was rough. This is 08, 09. But the first handful of clients were all past radio listeners.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's so true. I mean, I have a completely different network, but I started around the same time frame. I got licensed in 06 as a junior in college, full-time 07, and I had no idea what to do, and talked to my father, who's one of my mentors, not one of, he was the mentor at the time, and it was basically like, hey, listen, you're pretty young, fresh out of school. I was 22 years old. I went back to my high school directory, and I just started sending direct mail to my friends' parents, and, eventually when they became first-time buyers, I helped them, but I also helped countless numbers of their parents, and it's all about who is in your network. So I think think that's great advice, not only for those times, but really any time. And it's a step a lot of agents, in my opinion, skip over.
Yeah.
They're looking for that easy button. Let's post that video. Let's just put out this story, and all of a sudden business is going to flow through the door. And it's so not true, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
No, what I say, and I have a quote that's formal somewhere, but I don't remember what it was. But what the gist of it is that your true relationships are built in person. Social media is just meant to maintain them.
Yep.
And that's what I think a lot of us right now are, a lot of the newer agents, or even sometimes for us, you know, you just add somebody on social media because you happen to just see them. But you make the true relationships like we just did. We know each other, but we just went to lunch and caught up. Like, you need that in person, and then you maintain it on social media. To start it, and the whole thing is to live on social media. It's okay, but I don't know if you're going to get that turnover ratio of I trust this person to sell me sell my home.
Absolutely. I think one step, another step a lot of people skip over is the fact that social media is intended to be social. Don't just post and wait for business to come through the door. Actually interact with people, comment on their posts, send them direct messages, and actually be social. You know, that's part of
They scroll and lurk behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Many.
Now, I have another question for you. We preach to our agents all the time, ask questions, dig deeper, learn about people, because the more you know about them, the more you can help them.
Right.
Did you notice, like, you obviously had a skill for asking questions with all the interviews you did.
Right.
Have you noticed that transitioning and helping you with real estate?
I did. That's a great question, and a great insight is...
Totally redeemed yourself.
You did. That's right. You still may be in the negative on the Swift thing, but you're getting closer to zero. No, it's true, because I always tell everybody, what's real estate like? If you were to tell me, I have to tell somebody in an elevator, you're in the people business, which is the communication and relationship business, and you're in the marketing business. Are you in sales? Yes, but if you do those first two, sales happens.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that you got to know people. I tell this example all the time. So I'm at a listing appointment. Don't really know these people. They just reached out to us because we do a lot in our community in the Uxbridge area, this example. And so I'm going around, and this guy is just a stone face. We've been there before. His wife's the one that's talking, but she's actually trying to cover up for him because he's just like unsure. And like, this guy's, he's heard whatever from his family about realtors. Until I get to their primary bedroom, and the closet door happened to be open. I'm just making my notes, and I see a Boy Scout uniform there, and it's not their son's. It's his.
Sure.
So now in my head, I'm like, okay, here we go. I sandbag it a little bit. I hold it back, and then eventually I bring it up. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, an architectural shingled roof a couple of years ago. And hey, by the way, I saw in there, are you in the Boy Scouts? He goes, I am. I go, oh, no kidding. What troop? I'm actually in the Boy Scouts, too. My son just was an Eagle Scout, and I'm the den chief, blah, 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 blah. And in fact, it was at Uxbridge. All of a sudden, this guy, I couldn't shut him up. It went from an hour CMA listing appointment to 2 hours because I couldn't get out of the door. This guy would not stop talking to me.
Absolutely.
Found
It's
a way
all
to
about
relate.
rapport. I know when I go on a listing appointment, one of the first things I do is the tour of the property. And yeah, you're there to learn about the property, but more than anything, I'm looking for ways to build rapport. Do they have golf clubs? Do they have Patriots photos on the walls?
That's all you need.
Kids, whatever it is, to create that human connection. It's so critical to build that trust and allow them the opportunity to get to know you, like you, and trust you. So we've already kind of hit upon. So it's so important. If you're just going around and taking notes about the property with a stone face and not building that rapport, you're going to lose more listings than you get, no doubt about it.
It's true. A great tip that I never thought of, and I loved it as soon as I heard it. When you're going in and you don't know the people, like, hey, and you're giving them hugs, and you know your clients, if you're going into their home, that is a very personal, private situation. They're inviting you in there, and they are nervous as can be.
Oh, yeah.
If they offer you a water or a soda,
Say yes.
take it.
Yes.
Yes.
Every time.
Yep, because it eases their comfort. It eases their mind. They're providing for you, and even though you don't want it or don't need it, take it.
Yep. Well, actually, we do mock listing appointments, and I had one of our agents out to my house a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And I get full into character, and I pretend like I'm a seller, and I'll give objections and whatnot. And I asked her, if, like, hey, do you want a glass of water or coffee? I got a fresh pot. And she, no, I'm all set, thank you. And at the end, it's the same exact thing. You got to do that. It's a sign of respect, comfort. It just creates a better situation and environment for you to have a conversation with that prospective client.
I had a lady offer me a gin and tonic and a Xanax the other day, and I had to take it.
You had to.
Absolutely. I took the rest of the day off, but it was a great day.
And that was a 9 a.m. appointment.
It was first thing. Yeah.
Photos came out great.
They were fantastic. A little blurry, but overall pretty good.
That's great.
That's great. So early on in your career, obviously, you talk about getting off the ground, starting to find business in a difficult market like that. How did your career evolve? Solo agent. I know eventually you started your own company, but what did that process look like?
It's funny. I've been a solo agent. Still, I've never paid a dime in 17 years of real estate, and at a higher level. But this is going to shock you guys too. And I know I'm a business owner. I shouldn't be admitting this, but I don't look at any numbers or metrics. I just see what's coming in, and I know we're doing better every year, and we're good. So I couldn't tell you my sales volume really this year, last year, my first year. But I've been a solo agent my whole life. I've never spent a dime on Zillow, never been for cold leads, and it works for many. I've never Realtor. Everything for me is just community, warm lead, relationships, and that's all I know from real estate is just ground rule. You know, get out and talk to the people. Get out there, build the relationships.
Never heard that before.
I know, right?
My father preaches, and now I preach because that's how I was raised. Is the secret to the business is TTP, which stands for talk to people.
Yeah,
if that doesn't work, TTMP, talk to more people. So that's kind of what all our agents can recite left and right because we preach it each and every day. So,
that's the key, right? You just got to get out there and be you, be authentic. But get out there. So when I started a mom and pop. I was there for a year. I didn't know anything. And this is, I'm just as bad as of some people that may have not found the right brokerage right out of the gates. I get my real estate license and I go, oh, who do I know? One person, boom. And I went and talked to them and I joined their brokerage. She was amazing, Sue Vandersite. She took me under her wing, but I learned after a year it just wasn't for me. Back then, this was 2008, 9, and it was uptime. And I had 3 kids at home, and I can't do uptime. I'm answering all these phone calls for the agents that are successful, and I came in and try to do what I need. And it does, again, that works for some people, but after a year, I went and joined RE/MAX. I was with RE/MAX because they let me do my thing for about 3 years. And at that point, roughly I was closing about 30, 35 deals a year. At one point, I was up to about 50, and I was like, whoa,
that's a lot.
Somewhere in there. And then I was like, all right, that's a lot. And just after that is when I decided, not because I wasn't unhappy at RE/MAX or anywhere, I just wanted to go and do my thing. I'm an entrepreneur, and running a brokerage is not for everybody. No. And when people do jump into it, they go, yep, this isn't for me either. But it is for me, and I jumped in, and I started Premier Real Estate in 2013, and we're up to 15 agents, quality for us over quantity. And everybody's their own individual. We're a big family. We all support each other, but they're also their own agents. They're out there doing what they need to, and we've never had a team. So it's kind of foreign to me when I'm trying to help make policy at RIAR, right? Like about teams and this and that. I'm like, I need help.
Absolutely. That's so cool. And I know you've already spoken about community and whatnot, and we talked about this a little bit at lunch. You started a 501c3, correct?
I did.
Cool. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, people ask, they're like, wait, so if I didn't know you did real estate, like you're a nonprofit guy. And I'm like, I am. I have a nonprofit heart in here, and I would go and work for a nonprofit if I could support 5 of my children and all that I have, but I can't. It's tough. So real estate is my vehicle to do that, and real estate is a lot of people's vehicle to do some of their other true passions in life. So a few years ago, we started the Premier Gives Back program. Okay. What that was, in April of 2019, for every closing we have in real estate at our office, we give $150. We donate $150 in our client's name to the charity of their choice.
Love that.
So what that does is, and that charity has to be a local charity, a 501c3. And what it has to be is we have this menu that we give them. So every year we vet them to make sure it's good. So Nick, if you were to close with us, we say, hey, our closing gift to you is $150 in your name, and here, choose from this menu.
Nice. When do you bring that up to the client? Because we've started that, and it's amazing to me how many clients don't even choose it. We call it closing with a cause, very similar concept. But we've got online forms, emails, and like a lot of clients seem to really identify with it, but then don't even choose a charity or something. So how do you build adoption or get adoption in that process?
Do you guilt them? That's always an effective method.
Yes,
I find.
And we just liquor too. No. So we at the very beginning, buyer meeting, our buyer meeting or a listing presentation, we do mention that briefly, and a lot of them are coming to us because of this too. Again, but throughout the process, just towards the end of the closing is when we bring it up again. We say, hey, remember this? They go, oh my God, yeah. And you want to hit them. It's tough to hit them the day of closing. And just like anybody else says, you want to get a testimonial a week or two before the closing not after the closing, because after the closing, we've all moved before. It's a blur and it's a nightmare, and you're living off of pizza and box springs on the ground. So you want to ask for the testimonial ahead of time, but that's also when we ask for the charity.
Nice.
And it goes well. And again, we're a mom and pop. Literally, my wife and I are. She does all the books, and I do my thing, brokerage, and 15 agents. Since 2019, we've been able to raise over $100,000.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
And it goes back into local charities. And
Cool.
So
What
are you asking them like in person or over the phone as opposed to sending an email before closing?
it depends on the client, right? Like if we have someone that's a phone caller the whole time, we'll do it on the phone, or we'll do it in person. We did get big checks. So sometimes too, we bring the big check and they.
Oh, like Publishers Clearinghouse kind of
Yes.
thing? Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yes, they get stuck in that little tube though at the bank when they try to cash it. But it works. That works well. So I would say maybe 1 or 2 a year. And our office closes maybe 120, 130 a year, something like that. And that don't choose anything. So we just tell the agent after like the third attempt, after a few weeks, just pick one. But we also have a menu from them to choose. So if we just blanket, I don't know how you guys do it, but if you just blanket say, hey, we're going to donate to any charity, they may be overwhelmed. But if you provide them with a list or a suggested list,
We do the same thing. Yeah, we select 5 different ones in different areas.
Perfect.
Yeah, and let them choose from that standpoint as well.
yeah, that's
So,
good.
Yeah.
So after a few weeks, we just make the decision like,
Yep.
hey, why don't you pick it? And then our agent picks it.
Cool. I love that. So I know you said you're a small mom and pop, but 15 agents is pretty good. 120, 130 deals a year. It's impressive. So when you bring on agents, I know you don't, not doing a ton at a time or anything like that, but what do you think your like avatar agent is? Are you bringing on new agents, experienced agents? What's that look like?
New.
Yeah.
They're all new.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've gone and this is another thing, never dime on all the third parties, and then I've never headhunted.
Yep.
And it's a thing, and I get it, and you got to do that. But for me, I just never did. It was never my thing. So they're all homegrown. Everybody that we've brought on, I'd say over the long haul of about 13, 14 years of Premier, it's been 95% of our agents, 97% of our agents are all new agents that came to us and stayed with us.
I love that.
We live in our bubble. The downside to that is that there's a couple of agents out there that I think would be a great fit for our Premier fam, but nobody ever thinks of us because we're just not out there soliciting. So they make a decision, and then I text them and I go, hey, congrats on the move. And they go, oh, why didn't I even think of you? But again, we live in our bubble. We do our thing. And we're loving our life.
That's great. That's fantastic. We were talking about it this past week. We just got back from a little conference out in Aspen, and there was an agent talking about only bringing on experienced agents, and they have to do a certain volume. And we were kind of talking off to the side, and that's not ever really been our model either.
Right.
And we love to bring on new agents too. And not that we won't talk to an experienced agent. We have agents on our team who worked at other brokerages before, and they are very successful in our model.
Yep.
But I think the ability to train somebody from the ground up, and if they're willing to roll up their sleeves and put in the work, you can absolutely get them in line with your core values, what you believe in, and your processes and procedures that have been honed over 77 years or whatever. So I definitely am not opposed to green agents, and I think it's a great opportunity, again, as long as they're willing to put in the work.
That's the key, right? Is that the ratio is out there. It's small of those that will make it.
Yes.
When I was president of RIAR, we would go and talk to the incoming the new member orientation. And I'm a positive guy as they get, but I had to tell everybody, look to your left, look to your right, and of the 3 of you, only one may be here in 3 years.
It's true. So 87% failure rate in 5 years? Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
sad.
like, it's sad, but
Yeah.
I tell them that because you got to have, and I always point right to my heart, you got to have the fire in your heart to make it. But that's where it's hard for some people to get that. But for myself, that's how I ended up everywhere I was. That's how I ended up interviewing Taylor Swift. That's how I ended up on the radio. That's how I ended up doing XYZ in my life, is because I didn't take no for an answer. And I tell my agents and my kids all the time, the answer is always no if you don't ask. So ask. I've got I have a Mount Rushmore of musical artists that I love.
Who is it?
Some of them you've never heard of. So Jimmy Buffett, by the way, is #1 by far. And I love to hear you guys bicker about Taylor Swift because my sister and I are the world's biggest Jimmy Buffett fan, but we argue who's the best.
Okay.
And it's the same thing.
I love it.
So JB is up there. And then I have Jack Johnson.
Okay.
And then there's a couple that, you may have, there's Brett Dennen, there's Donovan Frankenreiter, and then there's Forrest Sun.
Okay.
So, and again, because I was a wedding DJ for 20 years, and I was on the radio for a bazillion years, I like some of the more obscure stuff. But the reason I bring this up is that I'm one by one getting them to play my backyard in Smithfield.
Really?
Forrest's son has played the backyard twice.
Okay.
The next one this September to play the backyard is Donovan Frankenreiter. Okay. And I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Donovan?
No,
if I played a couple of your songs, you would know. He's a surfer, and he's a step under Jack Johnson in terms of like followers and everything. He's great. Wow. So, but again, he announced a tour. I'll tell you the quick story. He announced this back home tour. Yep. He wants to play at 20 homes over 2026.
Wow.
So I saw this on social media, and I go, well, this is it. And the answer is always no. So boom, I went in. I signed up. They needed a $100 deposit. I put a $100 deposit down. Yeah. And then I got an email a few days later that said, hey, so are you ready to do this? I was like, all right. So you can only have 20 people in your backyard, and it's going to cost you $10,000. And I go,
done.
Lindsay, my wife, come here. And I told her, and I said, we can't do that fiscally at the moment. Like, that just doesn't make sense. But then I didn't take no for an answer. I'm a realtor, right? You get creative. So I wrote back. I said, listen, this is a dream of mine to have Donovan. I've been listening to him from the separation, the birth of my kids, my separation, and he's got me through this, and now then my new marriage, which is amazing, and all this stuff. And then I said, could you guys do it for if it was closer to 5,000, would we be able to do it? And I would also need about 70 people in my backyard. And I sent them a link of Forrest's son when he was there. And that happened because I didn't take no for an answer. I asked. So long story short, I got him down to $6,500.
Yep.
Wow.
I've got 70 people that are going to be in my backyard, and Donovan Frankenreiter. And if you guys, everybody have listening to this, or if you guys later, just listen. He's got a big song, If It Don't Matter to You, It Don't Matter to Me. He's got Free that he did with Jack Johnson. He's a big, I can't wait.
That's cool.
And I tell everybody this not to say this, but it's to say don't take no for an answer.
Yep.
Love that.
Right? Like, keep asking.
Search
keep
for
asking.
that common ground. I love that. Yeah.
Right. And eventually you're going to hit a human. You're going to hit a heart.
Sure.
Right? So some people, I'm just going to throw a stone at Donovan. Well, you're going to hit somebody with a heart at some point, and something is going to pull at the heartstrings. And I said the right enough things to get there. It made sense.
That's so cool.
And we're excited. And now I think we're going to have a giving back a part of it now, which all ties in together now. So our 501c3 may be involved with making it like a charitable type concert in our
That's
backyard.
cool. When you get Jack Johnson, let me know.
So Brett Dennon's next after Donovan, and then it's Jack Johnson.
Yep.
But Donovan knows Jack. See, this is the whole thing. And Donovan knows Brett. So, and then Jack knows Brett, so they all kind of know each other. So this is the steps I'm going to.
Building that network.
And then the last one is Jimmy Buffett obviously passed away. But Mac McAnally is continuing to carry on the show for him. His right-hand man wrote a million songs for Kenny Chesney. You could go on forever about Mac. And if I can get to Mac, and he plays Portsmouth, Rhode Island every year. I don't know if you know this, but Jimmy Buffett's last ever show he performed was at Portsmouth, Rhode Island.
Yep.
And because he was going through cancer treatments nobody knew about up in Boston, and Mac was playing a solo show in Portsmouth on the water at this little bar and restaurant, and Jimmy showed up. So
I remember seeing videos of that. It was a really cool
I
moment.
still get chills, yeah. So I'm going this year to that same venue on the same anniversary. I can't wait.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's circle back real quick on real estate, then we'll wrap up that section.
Yeah.
But you bring on these new agents, these green agents. What is the one piece of advice you'd give a new agent starting, not only in your brokerage, but just in the business in general?
Shadow.
Okay.
Shadow. It's tough. I've even learned in my own brokerage, because sometimes I bring on a part-time agent and they don't have enough time to shadow. And I'm like, why aren't these part-time agents working out? They got to see the everyday hustle of a top producer.
Yeah.
You know, they see them closing this and that, and they see them on social media, and then they see them on the beach at Block Island resting. But they're still working while they're resting.
Yeah.
But when you shadow someone and you just live with them basically for like 3 weeks, game over. You see every little nuance, every little habit they have, and those are the things that pick up. And it's more so adapt the work ethic.
You
Definitely.
see? I've been telling you to shadow people for years.
It's so hard to make it in this business part-time because
I love you,
people
John.
don't realize how much of a grind it is, how much you have to be available, and it's so hard if you're not all in.
It is. It's so hard, but you need to want it in here. You got to have the drive.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's tough, is I'm sure you go through this too. When I sit down with a brand new agent, I have to try to figure out through everything that they're saying to me. I have to put up one of these filters and whatever they're saying coming out of me, and as I just got to see is like, is there a fire in there that's going to be lit?
Fire in the belly.
What's
That's
the
it.
motivation? Yeah.
Right.
You gotta love when people say, "Oh, I love watching HGTV," or "I love looking at homes," or "I want
Right.
a flexible schedule." Like, I love that one. Whenever they tell me they want a flexible schedule, I'm like, "That's great. Yeah, you can pick any 60 or 70 hours a week that you want to work." You know, so
Exactly. It's so true.
yeah, it really is.
So true, and people don't see that. And a little motivational piece I want to pass along too. I was lucky enough to speak at Bryant the other day to some management students, and I mentioned this, is that when I was going through my picture, I'm going to set the scene. I had moved out of the house where my 3 little boys were living, and little again, they were like my youngest butter, I call them, right? It wasn't even 1 yet. So I'm over my head already, just starting in real estate, not making anything. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
My severance is running out, 6-month severance at Cat Country, and I'm only DJing to make money on the side, wedding DJing. So I'm barely surviving in this apartment that I grabbed that was in a complex because I wanted my boys to remember. So I worked extra hard just to have that. And the only time I have run and jogged in my career was then because I'm like, well, now I'm single again. Might as well get in shape. So when I didn't have the boys and I wasn't working legit overnight, I had started dating my wife, Lindsay, early on when I was there in that apartment. And she was texting me to go to work that morning at 7 o'clock. Hey, good morning. And I said, I haven't slept yet. And I was working on my marketing and my newsletter and my network and all this stuff. But when I was jogging, it was on like this crushed asphalt, repurposed ground asphalt road that the apartment complex. And I slowly one day saw a little green nub coming out from the middle of the road. I'm like, what is that? And then as I kept jogging day by day, it was a weed. And it kept growing and growing and thriving when it was all just paved asphalt. And every day it would grow more because those weeds, they grow like weeds, right?
absolutely.
That's the reason, right? And it really inspired me that if this little weed can grow out of a asphalt road with tires and everything on it, then, oh, woe is me. Like, I can grow too. I can make this happen too. So I took a photo of that and I had it taped up for a while in my office at the apartment, and then my next apartment. I was in real estate, by the way, for 5.5 years before I owned a home. It's just, you just got to do what you got to do, right? So I tape it up, and then finally I put it in like this acrylic, and it's been in my office for 17 full years of me being in real estate.
That's awesome.
And
I
it's
love
still
that.
to this day
That's
makes
cool.
me, it grounds me that nothing is impossible, right?
Yeah.
Like if this little weed can grow and thrive, why can't we?
You can do
Yeah.
it too. I love that. It's fantastic. Very
Now-
cool.
Yeah,
So you got into real estate, clearly had motivation,
right.
but you got in 2008. You were
Yep.
doing 30 to 50 sides a year. Didn't spend anything on leads. What did that look like for you to build that business up to 30 and 50 transactions? What were some of the things that worked?
The golden age of Facebook.
Oh,
Back
Facebook
then,
came
you
around.
could spend $15. I've been, every single listing I've had from 17 years ago to now has had a video guided tour. And what that is I get mic'd up and I show you just like this old house. I walk you around for 7 to 10 minutes like it's a virtual showing, but it's real. Like, hey, come here. Check out this behind, under here, this rug, there is hardwoods and blah, 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 blah. And, it's just the Facebook. You could throw $15 at it back in the day. And I literally, one of my listings, my video guided tours got about 100 and something thousand views.
That's awesome.
The
So
leads is
everything would
crazy
grow.
too. Yeah.
Right.
I remember when we first signed on with Curator back in 2015 or 16, we started running Facebook ads, and I'm a big golfer. And one day I was out playing golf when our campaign first went live.
Oh, I still remember this day. I was at showings.
Yeah, you were at showings, and it was just him and I. We started the team, just the two of us, and it was wild. All of a sudden, my phone just would not stop dinging, and I think we got like over 100 leads that first day.
Wow.
Yeah, it
in
was
one
like
afternoon.
3 hours.
It was wild.
Right, it was the golden age
Yeah.
back then, right?
Exactly.
And for Facebook, our goal wasn't to get leads necessarily. It was honestly to have enough people see that video guided tour and that listing and submit it up. Because back then, that was 08, 09, right? That was like, there was a million buyers and up 2 buyers and 1 million homes on the market because of where it was at. So I wanted to sell my home faster for my client.
Love it.
But in turn, that was working on my branding because everybody that saw that started to follow me and started to see. And they said, one day, if I ever sell my home, I want this guy to do it because look what he's doing. He's doing these tours.
Right.
Have you seen this? Now they're more prevalent, but
Do
that's
something
kinda-
different,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's so critical to look at what everyone else is doing and try to find a different avenue for you to stand
Right.
out. Don't just fall in with the herd. Do something that sets you apart. That puts you to the top of mind for whatever your clients might be looking for. So I certainly think going that avenue and seeking alternative routes in any market is critical. Yeah.
Can I? I don't know if you've ever heard of the celery test. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's incredible. I'm a big Simon Sinek guy, so his third book, I believe it was, or second, he talked about that. So what the celery test is that when you are at you got a grocery cart, right, a little bag, and you're going and you're putting in Oreos and bags of chips and this, and you got ice cream, and then you put in celery, and then you get up to the cash register, you dump it all out on the conveyor belt, and the person's ringing you up. Back when people rang you up,
Yep.
boop, boop, and then all of a sudden they pick up the celery and they just give you this look like, what's this for?
Yeah.
Like, why is
doesn't
this in
track
here?
with everything else? Yeah.
Right. And what that is an equivalent for, and a metaphor for, is people in their real estate careers or in any career is just because something's hot, us as realtors, everyone wants to adopt the next big thing. But is it really you? Give it the celery test. Right? If you know 4 or 5 agents that are putting money into this or did this or standing on their heads and somehow that's getting them 5 extra leads a year, standing on your head, your thing, like, what are your people going to think? But just because it works for somebody doesn't mean it'll work for you. So you need to hold true to your brand. And sometimes a big wave comes and you're like, everybody's getting rich but me off of this wave. But is it a fad and is it you? And if you do that, you're going to lose trust in people. Like I love kids. I hoard them at home, but I'm not a big pet guy. So if I were to put out a pet calendar, that doesn't pass my celery test. People would be like, what is Chris doing? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he with Crisscross again? Like, what's going on? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Because so I've always and I love that there's a concept now that can be in a story that can be applied to what I've done my whole career is just be you and just be authentic. And going back to what you said, Nick, is just be yourself. And just because everybody else is doing it, you don't have to do it. Be different. Don't be different to be different. Just be you. And people will gravitate to that.
I remember we certainly believe in video. We do a ton of video now as it stands. But I remember, 4 or 5 years or so ago, we tried to just do nothing but funny videos. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not a comedian. Like, this feels really weird to me, and kind of abandoned it to some degree. Not that we don't want to be entertaining in any way, but I'd much rather do this and have a real conversation with somebody as opposed to go and do what these realtors are doing now and standing on a counter with high heels and one leg out or whatever the hell it was.
Right.
And a glass of wine.
We've forsaken all comedy in the office.
Not all comedy. We have plenty. We have some comedy.
I can see John doing that, though.
I had to talk him out of it. He wouldn't. He was like, "I'm going to go and put high heels on." And
I'm always the one that has to take one for the team and dress up.
I can see you in a
whatever
kitten heel. That would flatter your calves. There's a lady that I really like on Instagram. Her name is Rachel, and she does like sarcastic tours of.
Bree,
love it.
She like ducks
the girl
down
from
and
Tampa,
and she like talks into the mic, and she's like,
yeah. I think her name
she's
is
hilarious,
she's funny.
but that's not our brand, so we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
her
mean?
thing.
Right? That's her thing. Yeah,
that new
exactly.
guy,
it's got to fit.
I can't get enough of this new guy, and I'm not offending anybody that needs the Diamond Sales Awards or whatever it may be, but have you seen this new guy that's trending? I think he's from Atlanta. He's a realtor. And he's sitting there like brushing his teeth or just drinking water, and he's looking at his phone. He goes, "Honey, did you see this?"
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah. This realtor we know has 3 new buyer consultations today. Wow, is he killing it? Like, and it's so funny because in the real estate world, we just live in our bubble, so we think that that's the right thing to put out there. But what is the right thing to put out there is maybe share that closing that just happened, but put the story behind it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So happy for whatever because they're pregnant and they're due in 2 weeks and we moved in just in time. I always said. And this is where, honestly, to kind of come full circle, where my nonprofit 501c3 and the Premier Gives Back program came from. Is human nature is to say, hey, I just closed for these clients. I couldn't be happier for them. That's a me thing, right? We try to make it a you, but it's not.
No.
Everybody that reads that on social media, it's a me. So that's the spotlight on you. If you can take the spotlight and put it on your client, okay, now that's better, right? So now it's like, hey, I'm so excited for, he just got home from the service and they're expecting their first baby and blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's a little bit better. It's not a me. It's about your client. You take it a step further, and if you can get the spotlight, and this is for anything in life, take the spotlight off of you, off of the next person, and make it the third spotlight. You put it on that, and that's what we do. It's a home run. It's a win for everybody, and that's what we do with our nonprofit. So, hey, I sold a home. Nobody cares. Next spotlight. Our clients, sold a home and they're just got married. Okay, great. Not many people care. Our clients that just bought a new home and have a dad that was in World War II and just chose Operation Stand Down to donate $150 to in their name, blah, blah, blah. Whoa.
That's totally different.
That's awesome.
That is different. So now you are standing, and I've been told my whole life I'm a martyr because I just set everything up and I just watch everything happen and I walk away. It's great. But like that, in a good way, that's what I do here is that third spotlight puts the spotlight on that. You're just in the background. You're still going to reap all the rewards. You're the one that facilitated and helped all of this, but you're not looking for the glory. That's the win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Such good advice there. I love that. So cool. I got a couple more topics I want to get into. So real quick, we'll hit this one fast because I know you got something else we want to talk about as well. But talk to me about volunteer leadership. You've done a ton of it, obviously. Immediate past president of RIAR. You were president of statewide MLS in the past, local boards. What does volunteer leadership mean to you, Chris?
Now that I'm past it, because I've kind of, last year was a big heavy year as the president, so I'm kind of taking a step back and lending my hand where I need to. Looking back now, what it's meant to be, me, is the relationships. And at the end of the day, it's why I reached out to you, Nick, is that you need to find your people and you need to recharge your battery with people of yourself, the positive people, the people that are doing things. And I found that with volunteer leadership in the Realtor Association, majority of the people that are there for the right reasons, and they're going to recharge your battery and fill your cup. So hindsight, that's what it's done for me. It's energized me. I sit in these rooms of these people and they're just energized and they want to give back and make
care.
They care, right? Yeah. And then that reflects and that charges my battery to go on in life. When I started my giving back journey and leadership as Realtor back about 10, 11 years ago, I did it because A, I was pushed, but B, was because I wanted to just network with these people that I see on all these real estate signs that are closing all these deals. I'm like, they're clearly doing something right.
Yeah.
So let me get a foot in the door and get to know these people. And then when I did, things changed.
Yeah.
And you see how you can give back. You can make a difference. You can make your business better. There's many things that I would never say publicly, like as statewide MLS president, small little tweaks that people every day would thank me and buy me a beer everywhere in Rhode Island. You know how acres...
But you wouldn't drink it.
No, I wouldn't drink it because I would never... Moscow Mule, man. But one of them is the acreage. For the longest time in statewide MLS, if you put a listing in MLS, you had to put in the square footage of the lot and never had the acreage.
Yes.
I'm like, that's all people need is the acreage. So I made that call, talked to my buddy John Bro, the VP. I said, why can't we? He says, we can. He looked into it. Boom. The next day, you put the square footage in, and it automatically calculated into acreage. Done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
So many of those small little things, but that never would have happened if I wasn't in volunteer leadership.
That's
so
great.
It does mean a lot. You have to do some of it. You don't have to do what I did or Nick what you did and dedicate so much time, but do a little bit. And every little bit helps. If we all come together, it makes the job happen.
It was one of the more rewarding experiences of my career. And, I'd always thought of maybe even going further than I did, but timing wasn't right with kids and family and whatnot. But I think just being surrounded by people who treat this like a career versus, there's so many of them out there who treat it like a hobby or a part-time gig. It's just being surrounded by those kinds of people and understanding what's going on, not just locally, but, statewide and nationally. I think it made me a better leader here in the office, and definitely is an experience that I don't regret for a second. And I'm very glad I went down that road. And
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's coming for you, John. So
Yeah, that's right. You're next.
There we go. You do get pushed.
Carry the torch.
But it's awesome. You realize so much that you weren't aware of before you get involved. So it's incredible. And I think more people should get involved. Thank you for that acreage, by the way.
No problem. There's many others. I'll just take credit for that one today.
All right.
cool. So you're through that gauntlet now.
Yes.
What's next on the horizon for Chris Whitten? What's your passion taking you towards now?
So when we first started talking, I said my life is in chapters, right? Mm-hmm. So my first chapter was just growing up and learning what I needed to know. Then it was my radio chapter, and that came and went. I took the good and the bad with it. Then I got into real estate. This real estate chapter has been about 17 years now. But my next chapter still has real estate. Premier Real Estate's not going anywhere. Tell all my agents I'm still doing my thing. But I started 2019, my Premier Gives Back program and everything. And then my foundation soon after, we founded that. That's my next chapter. So my next chapter, which I'm 48, could be one of my last chapters, big push chapters, is I'm starting and everybody is jumping on board a How Can I Help movement.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
What the How Can I Help movement is we live in a world right now where we have tunnel vision. We have, just like those racehorses, right? They're over your eyes so you can only see forward, and it's me, my, I'm a victim, me, right? It's everybody. And I get it. You fall into that too because you got to survive. You got to put my food on the table. There's all sorts of challenges. But we live in that me world. We somehow have lost the how can I help others, right? And when you put those blinders on, you can't see left and right. Well, you need to see left and right because that's where you can help. And when you help someone, and part of this movement is to get rid of the phrase random act of kindness. You want to know what's random? Finding $20 in the street. Should kindness be left to randomness? No.
Be intentional, right?
It should be intentional. It should be constant, right? And that's what we're looking to do here is to rewire our brains. I want to ask you this too, is that are we born kind? We're kind of born neutral, right? And you're grown and you're taught what you are as a child, and then as an adult you try to change. Well, kindness is a muscle. And if you want to get in shape, and these are flabby right here, but if I wanted to start lifting weights and have a goal, I need to flex that muscle. I need to train it.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do the same thing to be kind. You don't just one day, hey, I'm a kind person, I'm going to do something. Like, you have to be proactive.
Work at it. Yeah.
You have to work at it. And I've dove in all the data, all the Mayo Clinic. Like, I have all sorts of science behind it, and I'm working on a TED Talk. I'm super excited about that.
That's cool.
And I want to go out there and talk to Chamber of Commerce's. And I want to go into schools. I want to talk just about all these concepts and then some. We'll only touch on the surface here today. But at the end of the day, the small movement that we want to do, which will be a large movement, is to rewire our brains to just constantly think, how can I help? So we have these cute little stickers here. They're black and white. They're kind of stylish, right?
Yeah, baby, right
like
there, right
those.
at the camera. Right here.
there.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's just, how can I help? And in fact, I made it even easy too. They break on the back, so you don't have to have fingernails.
There
You
we
just
go.
pop it
Perfect.
on. And what this movement is, it's not my movement. And everybody that takes one of these stickers and puts it somewhere, it's your movement. So yes, it started with one, right, with me. But I took my light and I lent it to you, John. And now your light is my light. None of the lights are dimmer. It's now brighter. And then you're going to, hopefully, give yours to Nick if he's being nice to you.
He could
And
use that.
He could use that. He needs a couple of these stickers.
Yeah, he does.
I'm only mean to you, John.
That's right. But that's how it works, is that now if Nick gets it, so now there's three of us. We're all third owners of this How Can I Help movement. And if we get 300, 4,000, 4 million, that's where we want this to be. It's not a huge, like, monetary. There's nothing. The only thing about this movement is to rewire our brains to remind ourselves each and every moment, each and every day, how can I help? So the more you see these everywhere, I want them on people's laptops, on their Yetis, on their Stanleys. I hear that's illegal still, but I guess you can, but you're not supposed to. Anywhere you can, right? On little windows, on wherever it may be. I want it to be graffitied at some point, and put on vandalized, wherever, on stop signs. That's the movement, and where I came up with this concept of this is how it needs to be, is that on social media is a cesspool. You're not going to change there because there's so much negative. Even if you throw it a little bit of positivity, it's just going to get eaten up.
You should see my Twitter algorithm right now. It's absolutely insane.
Oh, I bet it's crazy.
You're still on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
I love it.
Abandoned that a long time
Deep
ago.
holes. I was showing
Okay.
John on the plane last night.
That can't be on the family podcast.
No.
That's great.
Yeah, so-
But that's where I said this is the way to do it, is one person at a time. But now, I don't just give one sticker to John and that's it. I'm going to give him a few stickers because he needs to pass that along.
Yeah.
And we've got a website that's up and operating, and you can go, and it's not a profit thing. You can get your stickers. You need 300 of them because you have an office of 300 people. Do you want 10 of them because you want to do it for your family, your soccer team? It knows no bounds. Get these stickers. I want them everywhere.
What's the website?
So it's howcanihelpmovement.com.
Awesome.
How can
Yeah.
Taylor Swift help?
So that's the goal. We were chatting at lunch, and they're all excited about this Taylor Swift thing.
whoa.
So
Yeah.
I told my Taylor Swift story earlier.
Yeah.
But I love what she is about. I love what she promotes. I've got a daughter. I have 4 boys, but one of them's a girl. My one of my 5, and I love that she looks up to Taylor, and I love what Taylor is all about. And she has so many followers. My goal is, even by the end of 2026, for Taylor Swift to repost, retweet, and share the message of how can I help.
Well, we're gonna try because we are big Swifties, and
Oh
we're
my
gonna
God.
tag
They're
Taylor
gonna
Swift.
ride your coattails, buddy. They want to be like 2 degrees away from Taylor Swift. You know what I
Well,
mean?
what we're
Mate,
gonna
you're gonna
do
make it
is
happen right after this.
we're
I
gonna
mean,
combine
I know a couple people.
the earlier piece of his interview with Taylor Swift, and we're gonna cut it up with this, and then we're gonna help Chris out.
It's probably
I
going to
love
be
it.
the best
we're
reel.
going to do that.
It's
Yes.
not going to be Opus. This is going to take Nate's expertise.
That's
You're going to
right.
have to go
Okay.
in there,
Okay. Yeah.
and we're going to talk about the errors that John doesn't know, and the documentary that John doesn't know, and all the different aspects. And Taylor's going to help him by giving him an
Chris,
education.
can I have one of these?
Yes. Oh, look to see he
One.
passed it
Here,
right on.
Here,
to
give me
there.
one. Give me one. I want to put on my mic actually.
Throw one on the wall right
There you
behind
go.
us.
On
my
there.
laptop,
Just
too.
slap it on there.
These are
So
sick.
yeah, aren't those nice? And we need no AI. We need NI.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, I'm all for.
Nate hates AI.
I can't
Innate
stand
intelligence.
You know, you were
That's
talking
what it
about
is.
like the celery test before.
Yeah.
Mine is AI. I'm like,
And that's it.
It's so antithetical to everything I am as a person.
So me too.
Yeah.
But I've learned to use it. I was at NAR, and this is another reason why you need to get involved with real estate, is the Realtor Association. I heard I've heard talks on AI, and same as you, man. It just rolls over. I'm like, I get it for some people. It's not for me. I'm not old school.
No.
I'm not avoiding it, but he made it make sense. So now I use it tactically,
Yeah.
not to be lazy.
Sure.
And that's where I'm slowly adopting AI.
Yeah,
But
I have it built into some of my softwares and stuff. I do like using it for that purpose.
Right.
I don't go out of my way to use ChatGPT or Claude, but I don't have a lot of analytical, like brain things where I have to compile a lot of data at once.
Yep.
I probably would use it more for that if I did. I would be worried about the accuracy of some things because, like, if you ever go on Google and look up something, they pull from like Reddit and a lot of
AI does
sponsored
the same
posts.
thing, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that because the Google AI overview now. So I'm just a little weary about that. And then from my point of view, also the atrophying of skills, like not being able to think critically, analyze things, that scares me if that becomes a trend where everyone's using it for, like you said, for being lazy, essentially. Like, I don't want to write this email. I'm going to do it. I don't want to write a card for my wife or whatever. Like, there was an Apple Intelligence commercial where, you know, it was like showed a woman and there was like a song about her winning. She won, right? Because she forgot a present for her husband and she used AI to make a photo collage on a phone. And she was like, here we go. Like, I'm glorious. I did this great thing. And I'm sitting there like, nah, you're just a crappy wife. Right. You know what I mean? But I like you said, if I think I'm not like totally anti AI, I think it's coming no matter what. But for me as someone who's an artist, if I may be so bold, I think that it has to be tempered with some real caution in its approach and how it's integrated into our technology.
Oh, it's scary. What's going to happen in the movie industry, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I'm more so concerned about the usage of AI for nefarious purposes in politics and misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
That's my biggest concern
I've
because
seen some of that in your stories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
we're living and running,
Really?
man.
He usually holds back with those opinions.
I'm very opinionated about that.
Get out of here.
Yeah, but I think what he's alluding to is I used to work in the film industry, and so I have a lot of friends who are still in the industry, and you know, like we're less concerned about it replacing actors and stuff because what I always tell people, I hear this a lot, is like, oh well, you know. AI doesn't have human experience. And I'm like, you're right, it doesn't, but it can take an approximation, essentially, like it can take an amalgam of all these different faces and performances and smush them together, and it can make that, it can spit it out in like a binary, 001 way.
Yep.
But when you're on set and you're working with an actor, and I think that maybe a lot of people don't know this probably because they haven't directed or written something and seen it kind of come to life in person, there are so many idiosyncrasies and micro expressions and little things that each person on set, hundreds of people, bring to the table that make a movie what it is. It's not any one person. It's not the El Director Spielberg being like, do everything this way. If you're a good director, you kind of guide the production and then you let everyone who's really good at their jobs put their own little touch and flavor onto it, right?
Team effort.
Yeah, it's a team effort. And that's what makes a movie fantastic. It's like if you watch a Good Will Hunting or Saving Private Ryan, those movies are Oscar worthy because everyone was firing on all cylinders and they were all doing their very best to make it possible.
It's teamwork, right?
It's teamwork. So like someone putting something into an algorithm and then a computer taking and sourcing, really stealing art is what it is, sourcing all of those things from all around and then kind of like mashing it together. I'm less worried about that. I'm more worried.
Didn't Disney sell the rights to all of their characters, which includes Star Wars
Yeah.
and Spider-Man
Really?
and everything to OpenAI?
Yes.
So that they're going to be able to create movies, shorts, whatever,
Yeah.
completely AI
You
driven.
could, so at some point you could create your own movie.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to choose this character and this character and
Yeah.
make it about a waterfall and somebody loses a tooth and
Yeah.
boom, right? Like,
Right,
there it
yeah.
is.
Sora is out by OpenAI,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they soon will have all Disney characters available to create AI generated videos
Yeah.
with you, me, whoever. So
I think what's going to happen is it's really funny. Like a lot of people are going to find out that they're not as creative as they think they are. I think it's going to run its course for that purpose. Like people will be entertained by that for so long before
Yeah.
they're like, okay,
I'm already
I'd
sick of
rather-
the AI videos. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's too much. It's like a lot of slop. My bigger concern is the misinformation and how that can mess with politics. And yeah.
So Running Man. Have you seen the original Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Oh, do it. It's today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I'll have to check this out.
They recreated a video of what actually happened and they twisted it and then made him a villain and then he was in jail and that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's today.
Good reference. They just remade it and it wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't. Not
I'll have
at
to check
all.
that out.
But
Running Man?
Yeah.
Running
Okay.
Man. Oh, the
Cool.
OG though. They just did make a remake, but no, the original.
I'll check
Unbelievable.
it out. That's cool.
Yeah, but that's real estate, right? And you're talking about that with the film industry. That's real estate too, though. Is like you have a team, and you can try to automate all this stuff, but when it's time to troubleshoot and this and that, and it's a Sunday, and like you know, oh well, I've been there and that won't work, even though AI thinks that will work. Well, I've been there and it won't work because of this.
Yep.
We're not going away. We have the tools, and I tell my agents and anybody that will listen, you got to be careful with AI. We started this podcast about real estate and radio and everything about trust. And if you start having the people that trust you, even family members, whoever it may be, trust you, and they find out that one thing that you wrote or a text or whatever it may be was AI and not you, everything after that, they will then question if it's AI. Photos.
Absolutely.
Unless if it's the caricaturing thing's one thing.
Yeah,
but like
sure,
if
yeah.
there was some people are using profile pictures with AI, and I'm like, be careful with that because
ridiculous.
if people find out
The
about
headshots we
that,
get sometimes.
Oh my
I'm
God.
right?
Like, oh dear.
But if people think about that, if your people find out and know that was AI, they're going to think, well, what else is AI? And then the trust level drops,
Yep.
and it's time to pick a realtor to sell my $1.2 million home in East Greenwich. Who am I going to pick? May sound foolish, but if they just doubted your credibility because of a
Authenticity.
photo they saw, well, they might go with the soccer mom that I see every day instead. Like,
Exactly.
you got to be careful with AI these days.
or the
you're
also
right.
the perception that like if they're sending a lot of automated emails and things and it's not in their voice. It's one thing.
Yes,
It's one thing if
that's
it's like
it.
a mass email, but if I get something from someone that's clearly AI, I
Yes.
think, oh, you didn't even take the time to like think this through and make it personalized.
That's what
and
I mean,
So you don't
right.
really care about me. You just are trying to get a message out. That's
Right.
kind of
That's it.
Puts
Gotta
a
be
bad
careful.
taste in your mouth. So you got to be careful.
I was on a YPN panel recently, and I was saying that any new agent that uses it and relies upon it is in a very dangerous spot because, a lot of times it can give you great information. It can be a time
Right.
saver, things along those lines. But if you can't back that up in a real conversation and know what the hell you're talking about, or know if there's something wrong in whatever is spit out, you're potentially putting yourself in a really tough spot. And I totally agree with you on the diluting everything. But one thing it can do that is pretty cool to amplify. I've been showing John this the last few days. I've been vibe coding with AI.
Here we go again.
This
It's
is
the vibe
wild.
coding.
It's fucking cool.
Wild.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
So you can code without knowing how to code.
Oh, that's how I just built my How Can I Help website.
Oh, nice. So
Oh, wow.
I'm using this service, and I'm actually building out like a team operating system that is going to replace like 4 or 5 different services that we pay for on a monthly basis. And we did the math on the plane. We'll save about $1,000 a month just by what I'm vibe coding in the services that we'll be able to discontinue in the very near future.
That's crazy.
So, and everything's in one spot because one of the biggest complaints we get from not only our realtors but realtors all over the place is, I have this CRM and I have this system over here and I have that system over here and I'm all these different windows and it's just overwhelming. But now we're able to bring all of this into one platform.
Into one.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild.
It's a no-brainer.
The guy I heard that changed my mind on AI was this past November in Houston at the NAR conference. He was the big keynote, so I'm like, all right, he's got to have a decent message. I'm going to send through another AI, like it's all the same. Well, it wasn't. This guy said he didn't know anything about AI. He's not a coder. He was from some other business and life, and he came in and he just learned what you're talking about. And the future is, you're going to survive if you know how to get things done, not if you know how to do things. He said the know how to do things people are going to be out. If you know how to write taxes because it's tax season or whatever, and like that's one thing, but like I know how to fill out a W-2 or whatever, the intent, blah, 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 blah. Well, AI is going to do that for you. So you got to know that how to figure out to get AI to do that and then incorporate it into your business for this and this. So, you know, what he said, and this is a great analogy, he said, I tried to toy with it at home. He said, my mom, who is older, said, always hitting me up, just like many of us who have older grandparents or parents that, hey, my password, Netflix, I deleted Netflix. Like, mama, you didn't delete Netflix. You can't. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. It's gone. It's gone. So you got to go and troubleshoot it, right?
Yeah.
Well, he said he was doing that for his mom, and he built this bot for her on her phone. She just clicks on it. And what he did is inputted every manual, every password, everything possible is in this bot. And now his mom barely calls him because instead of going to him, Netflix is gone. She types in, how do I get Netflix to work again? Fixes it for him. Another one he made is for himself. He took all the analytic data of his blood pressure and every weight, this and that from all of his medical records, put it in to this bot only, and then said, hey, tell me what my biggest threat is in the next 5 years to my health. And it was blood pressure. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Now it's not 100% accurate, but like, he's going to do a couple of things to make sure. Then he said, how about 10 years from now? And it changed. So it's working these small little bots that help you every day. It's not having it do your job for you. Absolutely. So if you do things, you got to learn how to use the AI to adapt it to your work. Otherwise, if you're just a doer, you're going to be out of a job at some point because AI can do that.
Absolutely. Right. Tom Ferry actually recommended a similar thing, and I did it after one of the conferences we went to, and I uploaded my blood work in there, and I asked it to prescribe the right supplements for me to optimize my health, and it came back, and I'm not the most unhealthy guy. I'm probably not the pillar of health either, but it came back with like a list of like 14 supplements. I started adding them to my Amazon cart, and it was like going to be like $1,200 a month in just freaking supplements. I'm like, I'll roll the dice.
That AI is sponsored by blah, blah, blah vitamins.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I don't know how we got there, but I enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
that was great. And to circle back real quick is that's where this How Can I Help movement is so important, because we're heading down a world of me, but also AI.
Oh, yeah.
And we got to bring that back.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys believing in this, getting the word out.
Of course.
And it's starting here. I handed these stickers out to a zillion Bryant students. Yeah. They need more. I want all of Bryant to be covered in this. I want them to be the first university, and it's just going to spread, and it's all of ours. Yeah. Every person listening, every person that grabs one of these stickers, you are now an owner, an equal part owner of this movement.
That's cool. I love it.
Well, we'll put it on the wall back there, so anyone else that sits in that chair, it'll be on camera.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we should make a special one that says, how can I help Nick specifically?
Lots of help. Lots of help.
So I know you mentioned the TED Talk too. Can you give like a quick 60-second version of anything that you haven't shared already regarding that?
It has to do with a lot of what I mentioned on the How Can I Help, and the TED Talk is more so going to be geared to businesses where they need to change up how they're doing their philanthropy and how they're doing their giving back and charitable cultures there. And I have a couple of, a pyramid and a bunch of other things that I'm excited about to get out there and make these entrepreneurs think, because one act of kindness lowers your cortisol levels, lowers stress, lowers your anxiety, lowers depression, makes you lose weight. It's the science is there. That's why we're in a rough spot where we're at, is that I love America nothing more than anybody else, but it's a cesspool right now for negativity. And why do you think we're one of the obese and most unhealthy countries in the world?
Like
social media
hyper-individualism.
It's just where we're at right now. So we need to change that. But if you can bring that into the workplace, right? And I say I can make, with some changes, you can make with our help, some changes to make your employees happier, healthier, want to come to work on a Monday, and it all happens to do with 3 acts of kindness is all it takes a week for someone. That's got to be intentional. You got to set up a situation where they can be kind. And then that's where these companies are going to start growing. And at the end of the day, will it affect your bottom line? Absolutely. Will it affect job retention? Absolutely. But you're doing a good thing in the meantime. So the TED Talk is going to be more focused on what we talked about with the How Can I Help movement, but in the workplace.
That's fantastic.
And then a part of me wants to also go into schools, because at the end of the day, how can you really make a change with this How Can I Help movement and change people's mentalities at work? and young when they're in school.
Yes.
And we're going to do both.
That's great.
Cool.
I know my career, my first 10 years in business, I was tunnel vision. All I cared about was my own personal sales, my own personal growth. And when I began to branch out beyond that, start building the team, volunteer with the associations, get involved, start the 501c3, give back more to the local community, not only do I feel better and more fulfilled, but our business has exploded as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it does go hand in hand. So hats off to you, Chris. It's really cool stuff.
I appreciate it. And it's just all these audiobooks and hearing and people like you. It's just taking all these things in my 48 years of life. And sometimes I feel like Forrest Gump because I've got stories and, oh, he was there too and this and this. But like at the end of the day, like I'm excited. This is our message. Let's get it out. Nobody needs credit. We all need credit. We just need the world to be a better place. People have asked, what's the mission statement, the vision behind this? I'm like, let's make the world a nicer, kinder place.
Yeah.
And we used to have that years ago. How do we get back to it? This is how we get back to it. And most everybody I talk to just buys in.
Yeah.
And it's just a subtle thing. You just need to put a sticker here and there or pass the word along and say, hey, did you hear about this? And that's it.
And
It's
do
not
the act
this-
of kindness.
That's it. And then just be kind. Work
Follow
on being
through.
kind. And that's what my podcast is going to be about. It's the How Can I Help Studios. And it's the How Can I Help podcast. And we're just going to have people on that did one small, like Nick just said, his career really took off when he made a conscious decision to, how can I help? Doom, done. And it's the same. There's people that have done small little acts of how can I help and made a world of difference. So we just want to share those stories, and it can happen to any of us.
When's the
Awesome.
podcast
Love it.
coming out?
It's going to start in March. So just about March, we're going to start it. And then from there, we're just going to roll with it and get all sorts of reels and eventually get to Taylor Swift. That's the goal.
We're going to make it happen right now. We're going to go.
Let's do it.
I just read a book called the Science of Scaling.
Yep.
So the science of scaling, and it was pretty interesting. I finished it on the plane, and that's more about business, but about any effort really. And it was like, take your long-term goal and then shrink the time frame in which you need to do it and what decisions you need to make that happen. So you just took your long-term goal of Taylor Swift. We just shrunk it into one day, and we're going to make it happen.
We're done.
No pressure, Nate.
One track mind here, you know?
That's right. She's already listened to this. She shared it, and then we're already drinking, celebrating.
Naturally.
That's right.
I love it. Cool. All right, so let's jump in. John, how about you share? Well, we have to do the one hypothetical question, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Chris,
It's tradition.
Yes.
It's tradition now at this point. So not sure if you've seen our clips. I know we're really
I've seen
famous,
some of
but
them,
okay. So hypothetical situation.
Yep.
You are hiking out in Alaska.
I've done that. Okay.
And it's you're by yourself. You get separated from your
Okay.
group. You're just hiking in the woods. You round a corner, and there's a 12.5-foot grizzly bear.
This thing gets bigger every time.
Hold on. Can you add that it's a lovely day? Because you do that when you talk about the shark.
Sure, it's a lovely day.
It's a lovely
Beautiful.
day in Alaska.
lovely
So
It's
Denali, to add to
Beautiful.
this, it's Denali because I've
Okay.
hiked Denali. I've hiked where the grizzlies are legit, like at our back. All right, so keep going.
I have a feeling what his answer will be already.
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
Go on.
All right, so you come around the corner on this
Yes.
beautiful day, and there's a giant, massive grizzly bear,
Okay.
just staring you down, foaming at the mouth.
Yep.
Eye to eye contact.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
Like
Just a
Anchorman,
regular,
right?
just a
Remember
regular.
Anchorman?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, you're swimming off of Cape Cod, beautiful summer day. 80 degrees,
Okay.
water's warm. You're out there just enjoying the water, and
You swim by a seal floating because it just got totally destroyed.
Yeah, I didn't have a dead carcass next to the bear.
No,
be fair.
but it was foaming at the mouth.
All right,
That's right.
so and you come across a white shark
Okay.
off of Cape Cod. It
Yep.
could be a big shark, could be a small shark.
Massive,
I actually think
massive.
I'd be more afraid of a juvenile white shark than a mature
They're more
white shark.
hungry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But whatever one you want, John, it's fine by me.
Okay.
So white shark or grizzly bear? Which one do you choose and why?
Ooh, grizzly.
Yeah.
Because I have more experience just from that.
That's right.
Because we did go, not to keep one up, but like I took when my
please,
son turned
please.
18.
One up.
One up. We were in Denali. And when you're in Denali, you take this bus to a certain spot, and then from there, there's no more cell service. And then you're 30, 40, 50 miles into Denali on this dirt path that this bus just comes up every 30, 40 minutes, and you get on and get off. My son, 18, and myself, this was a few years ago, says, I want to hike the mountain here. I'm like, okay. So we picked one, and we hiked it. We just tapped the guy on the shoulder that's driving the bus and said, hey, this is where we're getting off. He goes, okay. Nobody in the world knew where we were. No cell service,
my
no
dream.
emergency stuff. Oh, it was amazing. And we're half of this mountain that we are hiking is okay to hike, but there's no social trail. It's just you just go. There's no trails in Denali. The other half of the mountain protected, and no human has set foot in there in dozens and dozens and dozens of years because it's protected for grizzlies to live.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we're out there. We're hiking up. About halfway up, I go, Dom, my Eagle Scout, who's now in the Coast Guard. So like, I'm trusting this kid with this. He had a something on his belt, a compass on his belt that was going to help guide the way. Well, I said, where are we? He takes it off and goes, oh, this is north. And then he turns a quarter turn and goes, this is north. And he turns another, this is north.
Oh, boy.
Oh no.
Tom, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
So luckily I had my phone. I was snapping photos the entire way up. But you're trained, I circle back, you're trained on a grizzly. If they're up close, it's almost too late, but you gotta stand tall. Yep. And just scream. And if you need bear spray, but if you're not prepared and in the situation, you're not. But I'd still, you don't run away. That shark, I think, is just going to get you no matter what.
I don't think so.
I agree.
I don't think they're looking for you.
They don't
They're
make
looking
shark
for
spray to help
seals.
you.
No.
You won't even
They
see it.
have-
You won't even see it coming.
Yeah.
It just snatches.
It just grabs you, pulls you
Oh, yeah.
down, you're
It just
drowned.
snatches
You're
you.
But
But
I
if it
think-
wants you, you're dead.
Oh, if it,
Done.
I've said this before. Either one wants you, you're dead in either scenario.
Oh, absolutely. But
Yeah.
what's your better chance? Can I tell you another quick? I'm telling you, Forrest Gump. You know Shannon Buss?
Yeah.
Shannon, amazing realtor leader, amazing realtor on the Cape, but she was from Rhode Island. She was a past RIAR president. We were on the Cape vacationing with my wife's family. She was out there at the time, still living in Newport, but out there at her boyfriend's place, Josh. And they said, "Hey, you're here. I'm here too. Why don't you come on Josh's boat?" We're like, "Okay." So we go, and I think it was like in Dennis, somewhere in there. I'm bad with the Cape because I'm a Block Island guy. But they get us on the boat, and he's got a tube. I'm like, great. So I'm on this tube now in the back. I'm like, let's go, man. I'm up for an adventure. Well, he's doing his best to try to drop me. Well, wouldn't you know he does. Now, I have my black rash guard on. I've got a dark life vest, and I'm floating in the middle of this huge cove, very close to like all the, where everybody, all these dolphins are hanging out, and dolphins, the seals are hanging out,
Yeah.
right? And I'm floating, and he's taking his time to turn around and come and get me.
Look like
I'm
a seal.
Dude. So when you were setting up that scenario, I've almost been in both of those situations, and I think I was more calm up in Denali with the
Interesting.
bear.
John, he had a point. He had a rash guard on. He looked like a seal. If you were swimming in your typical trunks with that pale body of yours, there's no chance a white shark would eat you.
You might think you're a porpoise, but not a seal.
Anyways.
I love it. That's a great question.
Anyway, let's end this with a little closing lightning round, all right?
Okay.
So quick questions, and then 7 questions, quick answer. First thing that comes to mind.
Love it.
The book that every real estate agent should read.
Ooh, you're going to be surprised by this, The 7 Love Languages.
Okay, nice. Good one.
You want me to expand for 10 seconds? Oh, it's lightning. Never mind.
Let's do it. You can give me a quick expansion.
I haven't read a book since 3rd grade, but I do audiobooks. And blew me away on you think it's a book about what love language for your relationship with your significant other. Oh, no. It's for your children. It's how to parent your children. It's how to find out what love language you all speak. All realtors, your clients. So the sooner you can do that, the better you can treat them and know what fills their cup and makes
That's
them
like
tick.
acts of service and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
I'll have to check that out.
Love that. Most underrated skill in real estate.
Building relationships and communicating.
Good one. One question you wish that clients ask more often.
What's a furnace versus a boiler? No. Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, why do I need a realtor? And I think many of people listening to this that are newer or like, why? Well, that's the worst thing you want to hear, but it puts you on your toes and it keeps your value at the forefront and tells them why they do need to hire you to make your $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 commission.
Gives you the opportunity to provide your value.
Yeah,
And really explain
right.
it to them.
Right.
That's a
Love
good answer. I like that. What's your biggest real estate pet peeve?
Closet police.
Closet police. Expand on that. I don't even know what you mean by that.
Everybody thinks that, oh, you're looking at a home, Cape, 1920. This can't be a bedroom. There's no closet.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
No,
Yeah, it can.
so people don't realize that it has to have heat. It has to have a form of egress in terms of a window, and it has to be, depending on the town or the city or the state, a certain size. But if it meets those 3, it doesn't have to have a closet.
Absolutely. So
There's
many
no-
homes built back in the day
Yeah.
don't and still classify in their taxes bedrooms. Yeah,
Right.
No doubt about it.
This isn't a closet. It's not a bedroom. So I call them the closet police.
Yep. I like that. Best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, that one's going to be tough. I'm gonna have to. Can I have a pass? Can I phone a friend?
You
What
can
I do?
phone a friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. John, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever asked you that.
That's a good one.
Oh, he's shaking.
Give me something good, John. Deliver.
I would say just no pressure.
I have one if you want me to help.
I would say just start.
Yeah.
You
like
know,
that.
if you sit there and try to perfect it forever, you're never going to start. So just start.
Take action. He came through. Let's
There
go,
you go,
JT.
baby.
Let's
Done.
give it up. Yeah.
Have you heard this?
Come on. You did that on purpose.
Done is better than perfect. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Love that.
And mine is from my morning show about my program director at Cat Country 98.1. He just passed a little while ago, but he was my father of radio. And he always said and it's a small thing, but I want to get this so this is perfect, is that, is your real name Nicholas?
Yes.
So if you read that, and this is great in real estate, you see that on a public record or a field card or whatever, don't assume and call them Nicholas or call them Nick. Ask them what they want to be called. Because my formal name's Christopher. If somebody starts calling me Christopher, you're not building a good relationship, not making me comfortable out of the gates. So he said to always find out what somebody wants to be called and then remember that and use their name as many times as you can.
That's great.
Love it.
All right. What's one belief you have about real estate that you think most people don't believe?
That we're in it for good. We really care. I think the general public still puts us down below. They're just out for a commission.
Yeah.
But I wish that they would see the good. And I think they're starting to now because a lot of realtors like yourself with Slocum, Premier, we're all starting to give back to the community and they're starting to see that. And it's becoming tangible, but I think a lot of people are still skeptical of us realtors.
I love that. I was expecting you guys to turn the advice question back on me, and I was thinking about what I was going to say. And mine was from my grandfather passed down to my dad to me, and it was the day you put the commission dollar in front of the client's needs, the last day you'll be in business.
100%.
And I think it's so true, is if you can
100%.
always put the client's best needs up front, then everything else is going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
So,
That's gold.
yeah, for sure. Cool. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. This
is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long one.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we truly we shot the shit today.
We sure
We
did.
did.
I was gonna
We
say
sure
shit, yeah,
did.
we shot the shit. So, good stuff. So we usually end this podcast with a little rating, 0 to 10. Even numbers aren't allowed. JT.
Well, it was Pylon JT Day.
Yeah, it
But
was.
that's
Be so sensitive.
that's par for the that's par for the course. It's really just the level of piling that occurs. So I'll go 8-7.
8-7. Okay.
Ooh.
Chris, you want to give a rating? I know it's your first one, but
I want to say an 11.
11. I like that. Ooh.
This is
That's nice. I
listen,
like that.
positivity, but I'm rejuvenated right now. This was a lot of fun. We were ragging on each, but it was positive.
Yeah.
This is what we need in the world.
Love it.
There was no negativity. There was no dogging this and that. 11.
I love it. Nate Dog.
I say like a solid 9.5. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big number from you.
Wow.
It is a big
Yeah.
number, yeah. Well, I got to talk about movies and
That's right.
radio, and yeah, it was
This
fun.
is right up your alley.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
was speaking your language.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, totally.
I had 9.4 in my head. And that's a big number. It's a
Wow.
great rating. I think it's a great podcast. I'm excited to re-listen to it in the car. So good stuff. Thanks for coming on, Chris. That was
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun. Good luck with the How Can I Help movement. We're
Appreciate it.
excited to help in any way we can.
It's our movement now. It's
Absolutely.
not mine. It's ours.
Love
I love it. It's good stuff. I can't wait to listen to the podcast. So
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chris.
Peace.
Thank you guys. Thank you to Shoreham Bank for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you also Slocum Home Team. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends and family about us. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thank you. Over and out.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Shootin the SHT. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. And if you enjoyed this content, please share it with others and leave us a rating and a review. Buying, selling, or want to connect with Nick and JT? Visit Slocum Home Team on Facebook and Instagram or slocumhometeam.com. We'll see you next time.